Right Honourable Patricia Scotland, QC, Secretary General of the Commonwealth, and the Honourable Ayaz Sayed Kayon, Attorney General and Minister of Education in Fiji. A round of applause for them, please. You may be seated.
And of course, most important, is Integrated Partners Forum.
It is the opening session for all those conversations through the different groups that are at Maisha Reza to bring a few words.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Commonwealth Secretary General, our President of the Student Association, Honourable Ministers, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, of course the delegates to this forum too, the Integrated Partners Forum. We're delighted to have you here this morning, and I'm happy to be here at the opening. I would like to in particular welcome our visitors to Fiji who are here for the first time. Bula and welcome to Fiji. We hope you have a good stay in Fiji and enjoy the world-renowned Fijian hospitality. Now, there's a saying that he who speaks the last must always speak the least, because the wise have always spoken before them. I do not intend to make a very long speech, ladies and gentlemen, but I'd like to just highlight that the outcomes of this forum that you'll have this morning and the theme of the CCM can only be realized through a commitment to one another as Commonwealth partners and as women and men dedicated to the education of our society and indeed our citizens. Only together can we address the great challenges facing students and young people around the world, including ingraining sustainable development and resilience in the delivery of high-quality education. Every country, of course, stands at its own level of development, and every country has its own priorities, aspirations, and game plans for the education of the students and the young people. But for all of us, small island developing states, and for larger countries, industrialized countries, our progress in education hinges on our ability to pursue sustainable development and realize the sustainable development goals. That is not a journey that can take place in silos. It has to be a journey we embark on together with well-resourced nations standing shoulder to shoulder with those with more limited resources, and indeed even those within the Commonwealth itself. Because the theme of this year's CCM bears relevance to all of us, sustainability and resilience can education deliver. Here in Fiji, we are fully committed to our agenda of expanding access to high-quality education. Indeed, our constitution requires that. We've made education free for the first time in Fijian history. We are providing our students with free textbooks, subsidized transportation to school, and recently we've massively expanded access to merit-based scholarships and our affordable tertiary education loan schemes, and made those programs more tailored to students' needs. We are on the cutting edge of strategies for adaptation and climate resilience, of finding new ways to engage with development partners and those in the private sector to accelerate investment in sustainable development across every sector of our economy, including in education. The mantra that has driven the education revolution in Fiji has been that we need to move away from business as usual mentality. That includes our teachers, administrators, teacher unions, curriculum experts. We in Fiji particularly have seen an issue with the ways historically that we've administered our education system and indeed administered our teachers. The teachers are pivotal to delivering high quality education. How do we manage them? How do we administer them? Do we give them the same level of attention? Do we give them the same level of accessibility to services and indeed technology that will actually help them deliver the services? We also have to consider how do we meet the challenges of modern technologies and expanded access to these technologies, including social media. You know, they say the digital age is a great equalizer, but as we said yesterday evening, it can also be the greatest disequalizer, because you can have people who may have quality access, 4G, moving on to 5G next, in the towns and cities. But what will happen to those people in the maritime areas, in the rural areas, in the deep rural areas? The divide can even get even bigger. So when actually advocating for technology, we need to ensure, as the Secretary General said, that accessibility must be made available to everybody. And that is very critical in terms of how we actually plan for the future in terms of delivering technologies to the rest of the population, indeed our students. Abroad, we've seen as we are able and willing to lead on the great challenges facing sustainable development. As president of the COP23 negotiations in Bonn, Germany, we led the world to decisive action in implementing the Paris Agreement on climate change and scored other major victories for small island developing nations and every vulnerable nation on earth in the global campaign to reduce harmful carbon emissions and adapt vulnerable economies to climate impact. One of the Commonwealth nations, Bangladesh, if the current sea levels continue, 17.5% of their land will be actually underwater. We have a country called Tuvalu in the Pacific. The highest peak above sea level is 12 feet. They've already bought about 5,000 acres of land in Fiji. It's for sustainable development for food sources. You cannot no longer have plant food in those lands because of salination levels. These have an impact on the ability of parents to send their children to school. There's an impact on the ability to attend school. Priorities change. All of this must be taken into consideration. Of course, during the Bonn negotiations, we brought with us our Fijian Bula spirit of inclusiveness and solidarity, along with the participatory and transparent dialogue of Talanoa, themes that should also guide our discussions at this forum. Talanoa, as those you know, is about having a conversation, having a discussion without necessarily finger-pointing. Because the more freely we express ourselves and the deeper the connections we forge among one another, the higher quality of our discussions will become. And that exchange of knowledge, as we've seen before, will have a direct impact on students and young people throughout the Commonwealth in obtaining high-quality education. Those discussions must be had within the context of sustainable development, in that everyone has a role to play. Students and young people, in particular, should be at the center of policy decisions, not only as beneficiaries of education, but in recognition that they are among some of the most vulnerable members of our society. We cannot allow them to become passive actors. They must be full members of the decision-making and planning that impacts their lives, be it as school leaders, members of student governing bodies, or members of student councils. As I talked about social media, it also has a huge impact in how we manage social media. As we've seen recently in Fiji, because of certain images being put of students, people have actually committed suicide because of the vulnerability, the accessibility, and indeed the various implications that come about because of social media. How do we manage that? How do we give access to students to social media, but at the same time create an environment where they feel safe, where they do not get exploited, where their future does not get hindered just because perhaps of a momentary lapse of indiscretion? These are some of the very key issues that we also need to consider. It is our responsibility to pass down the lessons of sustainable development to our children. When those lessons are lost, we risk repeating the same mistakes. We must break this cycle by instilling values such as climate change awareness and advocacy in our education system, so we can raise the next generation of climate warriors. By doing so, we will secure a brighter future for every young person on earth. Throughout our discussions, I hope that we remain committed to many of the same principles that have guided us in the past and explore new ways of thinking, new strategies of cooperation, and new ways to engage with our students and young people. As always, civil society organizations must work in partnership with governments to build equitable and quality education systems and improve the accountability of the education systems in their countries. Teachers, as highlighted earlier on, also have an essential role in empowering and forging the minds of our students and young people. We want them to be motivated, engaged, and well qualified. We need them to be accountable in reaching out to the most disadvantaged to ensure all of our citizens get the access of education they deserve, including our young children and young people with special needs. We count on our teachers and educators to engage children and our young people so they can go on to become responsible, engaged citizens. More than that, so they can grow to become the next generation of leaders on whatever challenges the future holds. We must continue to work alongside with our higher education institutions as partners in sustainable development. These institutions must provide with us the data that informs our policy making and enables us to plan properly for the future. And data, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, is very, very critical. and we have in some countries, of course, some others more than others, need to be able to address the issue of correct data collation and how do we actually go about it, and having actually methodologies that are cross-cutting. This, of course, is very important for policymakers and enables us to plan properly for the future. They're also critical in building bridges between students and businesses, so that as many of our students as possible can go to high-paying jobs and maximize their contribution to our economies. All of this culminates in the need for us to come together in a learning and knowledge alliance to bridge major gaps in research needs, capacity development and policy implementation with our member states, and best identify the most effective practices and recommendations that can help us attain the SDGs, in particular SDG 4. Such an alliance calls for a much closer level of collaboration between policymakers on one hand and academia on policy research. We need to know in a quantifiable way which strategies have worked and which haven't. The strength of our partnerships in this regard will directly determine the rate of our socio-economic growth and accelerate innovation across the Commonwealth. Finally, we need to do a better job at tapping the vast educational and research resources of the Commonwealth countries for all of our benefit. By facilitating the transfer of knowledge between our countries, we can develop invaluable materials such as research papers, analytical reports, and other data that can assist leaders and policymakers in putting forward bold, inclusive, and innovative policies in education. Policies tailored to their own education sectors, but that are based on wisdom, on evidence, track record, experiences collected from all around the world through the Commonwealth. If you are a policymaker, an administrator, teacher, or student, and you have an idea or have a growing need, you should all be able to see very clearly what other countries have tried, what issues they have identified, and what success they have found or not found success. With that information available, we can think outside of the box to develop and implement new and sometimes unconventional solutions, so as groups, as organizations, as schools, as countries, as individuals, to have immediate access to hard facts and real experiences from our fellow Commonwealth countries. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to once again welcome you all to Fiji, those of you who are visiting us, and of course all our Fijian representatives who are here too, and wish you all very well in your success and in your discussions. We very much look forward to the joint statement that will be delivered to the 20th CCM following this forum. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and I wish you a very good morning. Thank you.